Canada's Wonderland just announced what could be the best new coaster of 2025. It's hard to say yet, it has a lot of competition. Falcon's Flight, Helios, Stardust Racers. Next year is loaded, and it just got even more stacked with this announcement on Thursday. Let's take a look at what this is. The name is AlpenFury. Not quite Alpengeist, not quite Fury. Kind of a random name, but I got no problem with it. It's 3,281 feet long, its max height is 164 feet, max drop at 154.2 feet, a max speed of 71.5 miles an hour. And here's the big one, 9 inversions. Only one other coaster in North America has more than 7, and that's Steel Curtain, also with 9. That's the ride's main selling point, but it has so much more to offer. I'm just gonna say flat out, this is a great addition, but I do have concerns, so let's run them down. This is built by Premier Rides. They're known for their launch coasters, and this will be no different. It has a small launch to get the train up and over a small hill, diving into Wonder Mountain, and that's where you hit the main launch. That one getting you up to 71.5 miles an hour, and you explode out the mountain, and according to the animation, you get a fireball to go along with it. Very volcano-esque. This was an awesome use of Wonder Mountain, and the way it pops up and goes into this inverted top hat right over Vortex's first drop. That is just awesome framing, you love to see that. Then, it twists under the lift hill of Wonder Mountain's Guardian, twists around and up into the zero-G stall right over this footpath. That looks like a hang-time-filled element. And then, you hit this turnaround that reminds me a lot of Fury's treble clef. This is going to be the prominent element that everyone sees when they walk into the park. That'll be to the left of the big fountain, and this is going to look so cool from different angles. This has an inversion, but I'm not sure what you call it. Kind of like a dive loop, but more of a sidewinder if you enter from the top. Then, you're back over the footpath, into this double inversion. This one kinda reminds me of Twisted Cyclone's reverse cobra roll, but this is all in a straight line. Rise up into another double inversion, back-to-back rolls, and both of them wrap around its own track, which is another great touch. Then you got the ride's one airtime hill, the corkscrew over Vortex's first drop, and then you hit the brakes. Like I said, this is by Premier Rides, so you know those launches are gonna be good, but not great. You know this ride's gonna be butter smooth, and probably will stay that way for as long as it stays at the park. So the only real question is, will you get lap bars or comfort collars? The good news is, at least in the animation, it doesn't have comfort collars. Sometimes animations can be misleading. Phoenix at Farouk Summerland had an animation with just lap bars, and in the end that was not the case. Still, it's a good sign that they're only showing lap bars. I don't like these trains in general. They're very small and hard to get in and out. The bigger you are, the harder it is. But without comfort collars, that does help a lot. They're annoying, but not a deal breaker. There are two things about this ride that's an absolute home run. First, they needed an extreme launch coaster so bad. They have 18 coasters and only 2 of them have a launch. Backlot Stunt Coaster and Snoopy's Racing Railway. Both of these rides are family friendly, so getting a launch over 70 miles an hour was much needed. Over the years, I said this park needed a mock multi-launch the most. And even though this isn't a mock, it's basically the same concept. Second, this design is amazing. Putting the elements aside, the way they launch you in and out of Wonder Mountain, the way this frames up Vortex, not once but twice, the way it goes over this footpath, first with a stall, then with that reverse cobra roll, the way it has that fancy turnaround that everyone gets to see when they come into the park, the way it wraps around itself coming back with those inversions. I don't know if I've ever seen a better placed ride or a better design ride. As for the elements, to me, this looks a lot like Max Force. That's SNS and this is Premier, but those inversions look very similar. I don't find them all that great, so we'll see how these actually ride. Sometimes it looks better than it actually rides. I would have liked to see more than one airtime hill on the ride, but it's obvious they were going for an inversion-based ride, especially since they already have big prominent airtime machines. Premier Rides isn't really known for their airtime anyway, so it's not a big loss. To me, this looks like an easy number 3 in the park. I'm guessing it'll be better than Yukon Striker, but not as good as Behemoth or Leviathan. My number 1 concern for this ride is capacity. I got a buy or sell from Coaster Cow asking if this ride will flop because of capacity, and I don't think it will, but it's definitely something to be concerned about. This has 2 trains and 18 riders per train, so a total of 36 people can be on the ride at any given time. That's just barely more than one of Leviathan's 3 trains. It only has 2, but it only needs 2. According to the animation, this has 46 seconds of prime ride time. There's no lift hill, so by the time this train hits the brakes, you're guaranteed the other train will still be in the station. Any more than 2 trains and it'll just stack. But 18 riders per train isn't very good. It should have about the same capacity as Full Throttle. That has the same trains and almost the same ride time, and that's listed with 800 riders per hour. For comparison, Leviathan can take up to 1600 per hour, or twice as much, seating 96 at a time. Behemoth is just below that, 1545 per hour, also seating 96 at a time. Yukon Striker is below that, just over 1300 per hour and seating 72 at a time. So, with AlpenFury's 800 per hour, 36 riders at a time, And considering how long Leviathan and Yukon Strikers lines are even during the week, if you want to ride AlpenFury, get there early. Wonder Mountain's Guardian also has bad capacity, 650 per hour, but that's not a headline attraction. AlpenFury will be a headliner, and that line is going to be ugly. Also, account for all its growing pains. The unavoidable breakdowns in its opening year. I think your only hope is to rope drop it, and honestly, that'll probably be the case for years to come. Canada's Wonderland gets crazy crowded, and it would have been nice to see them go with a better capacity option, something Cedar Fair has done a really good job with since taking over in 2006. Aside from capacity, I think this is an excellent choice. They needed a launch coaster, and they couldn't have done much better, so big props to the park and the new chain for making this happen. If you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like. It really helps out the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.